All right, we're live here at AwesomeCon 2019. It's been one heck of a weekend. This is a Saturday, and now I'm Nagier. I'm here with Chris, obviously, and we're obviously with the man of the hour right now, fresh off of his panel, Mr. Hilton.
The hour, no more. Oh, after this hour, I am nobody. Trust me.
Nobody.
Oh, yeah, that's a lie. Hilton, he is the founder, creator, and all things BlerdCon. That's really providing a powerful message in the community. Again, we just came from the panel. The Q&A section was a tearjerker because a lot of people actually no one had questions. Everyone had dedication. I think that was a really powerful thing to experience here today at AwesomeCon, to see such a presence in the Blerd community here. But for you, how has it been this weekend?
Well, like every time we come to AwesomeCon, you know, this is the largest nerd gathering in the city, I believe. You know, they hover somewhere between 60 and 80,000 people, and the Blerd community comes out. And I think what's different about AwesomeCon compared to any other fandom convention that you and I or anybody would go to is that we get a large number of convention goers who only go to this con once per year because of the pop culture nature of it. Yeah. And then when we start talking about other conventions, they're like, oh, there are other conventions?
Yeah.
Like, I could do this more than once a year? This is some people's nerd Christmas, and then they go back into the cocoon, and then they don't come out till next year this time.
Yep.
And there's such a diversity of people in the crowd, so many great vendors and artists that get showcased in this city where everybody is getting an opportunity to come and see DC and interact with cool cats like y'all and get really cool interactions and stuff. So it's been a blast for us. You know, we bring a little bit of BlerdCon everywhere we go, and
That's
we
right.
got our chunk back there in the back room, man, and doing it up.
That's right.
I guess for me, being this is a DC metropolitan area, you get a diverse amount of people. How has that been, I guess, in particular with, black people and stuff? You mentioned during the panel how this wasn't the thing at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So now that it's, like the next generation, people after us, it's like, oh, this is cool now. How has that been in terms of where this area is and such? Like DC metro area especially.
Well, DC, one, it's a very transitory, is that the word? Transient.
Yeah,
transient population, between the college crowd, the high schoolers graduating, going away to college, the political people, lobbyists who come in and out with every administration. It's very fluid. So when you come to DC and you meet folks and you network, you're meeting people who are from other places, like immediately from other places. And I think that's what keeps the energy fresh and new. And what I really like is that for the young generation, you'll have a kid who might come from Iowa or Nebraska or something where it's a lot less diverse, and they get plopped in the middle of this city where there's literally every race and every gender and gender identity, and it's like, wow, you get to see them physically walking through this variety playground of sensory overload and things like that. So for the future, generations and the people who are coming up, they're going to hopefully take a little bit of the experience that they have, even if they're only here for a couple of years, and go out into this other world, which might not be as diverse, might not be that rich, might not have that much opportunity or variety, and take that there and build their community where they are here. So with BlerdCon, for instance, if they come by the booth, we want them to get a sense of, oh, this is the BlerdCon experience. There's music, there's dancing, there's people communicating and communing and hanging out. Originally, it was a very interesting thing. Most, vendor tables you would go to, if a bunch of random people just started showing up and just standing around, you'd be just shooing them away like pigeons, like, come on, hey, get out of here with that. I got a business to run here, right? Yeah. And for us, it's like we actually want that person to come and stand and stare and feel awkward until they don't. Yeah. And every single time we do a convention show, anywhere we go, there's always that 1, 2, or 10 people who have never heard of BlerdCon before, have never seen the community, and they gravitate to it immediately. And I'm telling you right now, you've got time. You're going to come by the booth, and now that you're looking for it, you're going to be looking, who is that dude on the periphery somewhere?
Tommy, I saw your guys' video at the church thing, and that's a crowd that's like a 180 from this crowd, and yet they just gravitated towards y'all table. It was crazy.
Okay, so y'all ready for some soapbox theory?
Let's get it.
Okay, all right. So us in the nerd bubble, we see all the nerd and geek and black nerd and black geek and blurred activity within the community.
Yeah.
And we talk about the struggles,
Yeah.
and we talk about the trials, and we talk about the resistance that we get when we're talking about expressing ourselves and inserting ourselves and being active in the community, and how that makes us feel even within the space that we're occupying. But one of the things that nobody that I know of has really addressed or has spoken on is the theory or the question of how many people who are looking at the struggles inside the bubble from the outside are staying outside the bubble because they don't want no part of that. You know, how many black nerds are out there who only interact with their geekdom in their basement, in their PS4 setup with a 60-inch screen,
The command station.
The command station, right? And how many people, the only interaction with their geekdom is when they go home and they're binging, anime.
Yeah.
But then when they step outside that door, it's just, just keep it in because I keep that at home, and they don't understand the community. They don't understand the conference space, right? So when you go to a space like a church black college fair, and you say black nerd convention, you have reversed the equation, right?
Yeah.
The equation goes both ways, right? So when we're here inside the geek space, we are marketing to POC, diversity, black nerds who are in the nerd space to come to our micro nerd space, which is BlerdCon.
Yeah.
When we're out in the general population, if you will, we are telling black nerds there is a space.
Yep.
There is a community that are not even active at all, in this community space to come and join just the community in general. And we become the window into conventions and a window into cosplay and a window into expressing that nerddom and geekdom. And when you see an 11-year-old and a 12-year-old and high schoolers and middle schoolers, it's like, my son loves this. I didn't know other kids did that. You're like, yes, come over here. Oh my God, it's Chun-Li. So we have a unique opportunity with that space to expand the pie. Because there is what do they call it? A critical mass with every market segment. And there's a critical mass of blurred and blurred adjacent population within the con space right now. We're going to hit that at some point. The only way we're ever going to grow beyond and bring more new energy in is that we're going to have to reach outside of the nerd space to bring those people in. And if we're the landing point for them to enjoy the whole nerd community, then we will have them as part of our community to start with. And we will be the impression that they have that they take to every other con. We may be for a while the only con they know. And that's an immense responsibility. We got to get it right. Because we get it wrong. We got a whole bunch of people marching out there with the wrong ideas and everything like that. So,
man, there's a lot to take from that. Ooh. I think the first thing I want to say is too, honestly, is my testimony earlier today is that I am very used to being around a table, and one of your volunteers was like, hey, you have to move, otherwise, the fire general or whoever are going to shut us down. And I'm thinking that's a shoe. She's like, no, come here. And I'm like, oh, okay.
you got to move in.
Yeah, I'm used.
In the house.
Going to other cons. You by that table and you're just floating around, and maybe you're waiting for somebody to come back, or some of the trickery when you're trying to purchase things at other cons. It's like you have to move, get out of this area. So absolutely, it was like home to say hey, come in. I'm very shy. I gotta admit, I'm very shy. I was dancing around earlier. I can do a purpose. That's it. But I was dancing around. I actually was that felt good. Now to the testimony at the end of the panel, one of the guys stood up and he said that BlerdCon felt home and he felt safe. And I thought those were super powerful words. Home is a word that you do not throw around like that. But in a con community, safe is almost as law as it get now. When someone says they're safe or unsafe, that speaks volumes. So when you hear a word it felt like home, it felt like I was safe being there. How does that resonate with you?
Well, if you think about home and what that means to people, when I go home, it's like I feel like I know where everything is. I know what to expect, and even the unexpected isn't scary, right? Because when you're at home, you know that there's a certain level of acceptance and welcome, and there's support, and you can't you can't bottle that up. You know, you can't write that in a mission statement. You know, if we had created a convention for some other community, just just to throw that out there, and the people came and they started to take their energy this way and that way, and people didn't feel comfortable, people didn't feel safe, then we could have the same basic structure of a con, but then people are like, I really didn't feel comfortable in there. Like, I don't know, the energy was there, and people weren't seeming as if they wanted to connect, and I didn't see myself reflected, and I didn't resonate with the vibe. The vibe is what the people bring. And so I don't allow people to compliment me or even my business partner and my co-founder Haas on being responsible for that feeling, because that's something that the community brought in. Yeah. And I think what we were banking on is that there was such a need and desire for a home. Because we all know what it's like, either professionally or educationally, or even in some of our interpersonal relationships, to be in an environment that is not on our vibrational wavelength. Yep. And we have got to step outside of ourselves in order to assimilate. Yeah. Which you can do fairly easily, because code switching is something that we almost wrote the book on, black people, right? So we're like, okay, I gotta talk a certain way, walk a certain way when I'm at work, or if I'm living in this neighborhood, or if I'm going through a certain mall. There's stuff that we do that we don't even think we do in order to fit in and make other people feel safe around us. When's the last time you seen a brother whistling? Right? I know if I'm at a certain environment, it's a defense mechanism that it was like, okay, if I want people to feel comfortable around me as a black person, as the only black person in this environment, and they're about to cross my path in a hall or on the way, you know what? I'm going to whistle. Yeah. Hey, no one has ever whistled before they murdered somebody, right? It's not even in the movies, right? And it's not fair and it's not right, but it's just it is part of the defense mechanism. Yeah. And living like that year round everywhere is exhausting. Yeah. Yeah. So if you think about the opportunity for some people, because we're privileged, we're the privileged few. We get an opportunity, at least for a certain set of hours of our day, to occupy and live in our nerd space and commune within our nerd space. There's folks that have to stay buttoned up 364 days a year. They got one day, and they just go, Yep. And there are other folks that don't get that opportunity that we do. So when you give someone an opportunity to be and feel safe, you know what it really feels like?
Finally, just relax.
It's the default.
Yeah.
And for 3 days, you feel like, I'm relaxed, well. And you know what it is? BlerdCon is that really, really cool, hip, homespun soul food restaurant that everybody in the neighborhood loves, right? Yeah. And you got there's a white person over there eating that. You like that? It's okra. That's okra. You like it? No, don't put ketchup. Don't put no ketchup. Yeah. But we feel really comfortable because we are what's on the menu. Yeah. When we know that we are controlling the terms of the intellectual, emotional, conversational commerce, and we're like, I don't have to code switch, even when I'm talking to people that are from outside of my community, because I'm home. Yep. And they brought that energy and they made that work, and it was a gamble because, you never know. It could have gone either way. People could have come in and showed out, or could have been uncomfortable, or made others uncomfortable.
Or just been like, it was okay experience.
Yeah, we sat around. It could have been like the middle school prom, all the girls on this side of the room and all the guys on that side of the room. And we're having will you people interact? But it really turned into that kind of space. And I think that if we could put it in a bottle and find different ways to uncork it every year and spread it around, I think it'll continue to grow in popularity, and people will resonate with it.
I definitely encourage people to watch the montage video from last year, because it's but it's as authentic as it gets. You can't tell people to act like that and perform like that, in the sense that the cameraman has to do his job, but if the people in front of it, they're just having fun, and they put it together and amuse it, but the moves, the rhythm, the vibe, that's only something you can create organically. And every time you watch it, which was you can tell when you played it at the panel, complete silence because people are tuned in. They're looking, and you're seeing people say, "Oh, wow!" Like, you know, and different, and a very diverse amount of people. Everyone's tuning in, like, "Wow, look at that cosplay! Look at them dancing! Oh, that's my friend right there." And I think that's just like, I think that's how you start the fire, and the more other people going to say, you know, "Hey, have you heard of this?" And for me, I know something too that's kind of stuck out to me is that July is a really, really busy month in cons, and when I hear people's schedule, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to BlerdCon," the week before they're going to go to San Diego. Typically, con people in the community don't have a lot of money, so there's like maybe one con this month, maybe 6 months down there. Maybe I can do this last one somehow, but to maybe go to the biggest con and then but go to BlerdCon a week before, that tells you the commitment.
It is a struggle to make sure that BlerdCon is at least one paycheck separated from the nearest.
That is the mental gymnastics of it all. It's
That's
like,
right. I like, when's payday? Is that the 15th? So we're on the, so we're before the 30th and after the 15th. Okay, cool. You know, because people will go to con, we spend money. We got to pay for hotels, we got to pay for flights, we got to pay for our cosplays and all the stuff that we do. We eat.
Yeah.
How about that?
I need that.
We gotta
Need that now, actually.
and so it's really crazy watching that whole thing. And as you know, we ended up scheduled on the same weekend as Otakon this year. Now, the funny thing is that, you know, we have such a strong core following. And
Civil War.
They right. There were folks who were like, "We could do this, man. You go up against Otakon." Like, that's not how the community works.
Folks, there was a literal East Coast, West Coast beef redux again. I'm not even joking. Like, people on Otakon pages like, "You gotta come here." No, I'm not even joking. Like, if you saw the Facebook pages, it was hilarious, and it was like, oh god,
it was gonna get out of hand real quick. And it was like I said, I can't really come up with a solution until I get another date. But I always intended, as soon as I found the date, because, you know, Otakon has set their dates like 10 years in advance. You know, so there's really no moving a monolith like that, you know, on a dime. And we are more nimble. We're a smaller convention in a smaller space. So I immediately called the Hyatt, set it up, and as soon as we got the date, I wrote the little write-up, because people don't know that we're all partners in this community, and they support us and we support them. And these things happen all the time. But it was just so funny, and it was kind of heartwarming, you know, to see people say, "You know what, we ain't going to their con, we coming to your con." It's like,
I like it, but
you know, the math is like, you got a 30,000 person con happening 2.5 miles away on the same weekend as yours. Like, I don't want to be sitting at my con empty, looking from the rooftop over at Otakon, like, "Oh, look at that." You know, nice. It's like, this is bad business. But, you know, there is this sense of, and it's mainly in anime conventions, you'll find that people take ownership of their con.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, you don't see that in pop culture or comic conventions. People go based on what's happening at the con. And, you know, this is a reality that the people at AwesomeCon know, so I'm saying it, but it's not a dig. That's just the nature of the population. About 2 years ago, you had the Doctor Who thing was happening here at AwesomeCon. They went all Who, man. They went all the way to the. They had I think they had like every doctor. We bring in every doctor, and we ain't doing nothing else.
Recent doctors.
We bring in the doctors, the nurses, every Who. Horton heard a Who. Everybody's getting a Who. Who. So the Who fans were like, from all over America, were like, "We're coming to AwesomeCon." Now, this is the hometown con for DC, right? There's no loyalty. They had the Civil War Avengers people coming to the same weekend at Philly Comic-Con. So people are like, F that, I'm going to Philly. So I'm up in Philly, because I'm not a Who fan like that, but I'm up in Philly. I'm like, "Ain't you at AwesomeCon? That's right down the street." They're like, "Nope, come over here to talk to Chris Hemsworth."
Chris Evans.
Right, Chris Evans, Mackie, you know, Stan, I'm coming to see all of them. And if it had been an Anime Con, like Anime Con fans, even if they have a bad experience, they'll get on YouTube and they'll cuss the con out.
We know.
You better not.
We're veterans of this game here.
I wish, and this wasn't right, and you need to do this. And then, but they'll end it by, "I'm gonna come next year, and you better take my advice, and you better get it together, because it's like, this is my con." You know. And I think that is the dynamic that we have recreated with a multi-fandom con in a short time with BlerdCon.
So I guess to finish it out, so this year, You got a good lineup
Oh
of
my gosh.
guests. So
This
you want to break it
year-
down for folks that
Okay.
are coming?
Or can you
Looking-
drop something
He
maybe?
can drop something. He dropped off. He
You
dropped
know what?
videos on.
No, I didn't drop something. There's something. I've got something to drop.
Okay.
Just because we go back like spinal cords and
Yes, we
car
do.
seats, man. I'm going to drop something just for
Yes,
you, and you've been
yes.
holding that mic, and
All right,
make
all
sure you get
All
blessed
right,
for
all
that.
right,
Okay, so check it. So BlerdCon's got this probably the best lineup of guests that we have ever had, and I say ever like we haven't been just 2 years, but it's in the long history.
Top last year.
So we got Bo Billingsley, and if you are a voice actor follower who is looking at anime, sci-fi, video games, this guy has voiced more voices than I've heard. Like, I mean, he's been all over it, but not the least of which is Jet Black from Cowboy Bebop, which has a cult following, and there's just people who are just super excited, and he's just the coolest guy, and he's coming in. It's going to be amazing. We've got the Samurai, so we got this martial arts, group, quadrant in the nerd community that just loves everything samurai and ninja related, and she is a self-taught, warrior, and just has an amazing following, and she's coming all the way from London, right? So a lot of folks are really excited about that.
Nice.
On top of that, we have got Rachel True, who's everybody's 1990s crush from The Craft and CB4
Half and
and Half and Half and what's the other one? Half Baked. And she is just amazing. She's just coming out. And we got this really unique opportunity that came down the pipe fairly recently, and we got Estelle coming.
Yeah, I saw that.
So you've got this crossover between the Grammy Award-winning vocalist, who's just doing amazing work in the music industry, but she's also the voice of Garnet from Steven Universe, coming in it's a universe in and of itself. Like it's got its own con.
I was talking about a cult following.
Oh my gosh! And she doesn't do a lot of fandom conventions, so
I know.
she's done like
San Diego
8.
was the only one I've really seen her at. Really.
But to do one of this size and everything, it was really unique to get the opportunity to have her come.
Yeah.
Now,
All right.
you know about the barbecue,
Yeah.
and you know about the brunch, and you know about all of those little things that we put in that are kind of hitting the black nerd audience in their 23andMe, that kind of thing. So we always got to try and do new things and top things out. Are you ready for this?
All right.
All right.
You ready for
Ready.
this?
Let's do it.
All right, okay.
Let's do it.
So this year, inside the Hyatt, for BlerdCon, we are setting up the barbershop. A trash talking, table spinning, mama call him Clay, I'ma call him Clay, Joe Lewis, argument, brothers playing chess while they wait.
For that.
Because think about it, us as brothers, we go in and we get so focused on getting our cosplays together, getting our luggage right, making sure we pack all the right stuff and da-da-da-da. And the last thing we actually think about is getting our fade right for a convention. And you're in an alien town. If you don't know where the brothers get their hair cut, and it's going to take 6 hours if you don't have an appointment, you're just going to go across town and they don't know you and all this stuff. I said, you know what? Let's get some barbers here to cut hair and get everybody's ears cleaned up. And that is going to be at BlerdCon. It's going to run all day.
You have officially opened it up to a different set of people.
It's going to be crazy.
Again, forget the haircut. The conversations.
Just
that's
the
gonna go
conversation.
down about
Like, I go to a barbershop already, but like you hear the conversations like football and like Jay-Z and stuff. But like I think I wore your BlerdCon shirt there, and they was like, "What's that?" And I was like, "Oh, it's BlerdCon, it's down there and stuff." And then I think a couple of them got kids, and they take their kids to these comic conventions, but they never really like. So now you're bringing that audience into this now. So yeah, it's,
and these are nerd aware barbers. So the conversation is going to be around Dragon Ball and Naruto and Star Wars.
Oh boy,
and Endgame.
We're the strongest.
It's going to be while getting a fade. So so be ready.
And
there's some other stuff that we may be dropping later, but those things are not written in stone. This is, and I think what's going to happen is people are going to walk in the room and they're going to walk in the door. It's going to be an open area, and there's going to be a barber shop, and people getting their hair cut, and there's going to be some Curtis Mayfield playing in the background, and everybody's Ancestry.com is going to get hit, and we just gonna be like, oh,
Crystal City
I can't-
has officially, that corner of Crystal City is officially like black.
It's
I
gonna
might
be-
ask. I might ask.
It's
for the
gonna be
gum beat.
February and July. We're
It
gonna,
really is. It's like, 'cause, okay, I used to work.
Yeah.
February. Ooh, that's a
Like,
nice
I
little
used to
thing.
work
You sure
in Crystal
you heard
City.
that?
I used to work in Crystal City, and that's like, it's like the white, pretty.
It's pretty white.
Pretty,
Yeah.
pretty white.
Pretty white.
You know, and like you putting that
White.
there on a week, like you're starting on a Friday.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting off work, so you're already there just.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be like this magic effect, man, that like you saw in Ghostbusters. It's like this energy is gonna emanate from the building, like, and all of a sudden you're gonna see people putting like Lowry's Caesar salt on their food they've never done before. Like, what is going on?
Chick-fil-A, what's going on here?
Wait, it's like, wait a minute, am I putting vinegar on my greens? What is going on? There's something happening here in Virginia. Honey, get in the car. We gotta follow the
get out of
signal. I got a counter. And we're gonna follow the signal. There is some serious negrosity
By default,
going on.
by default, that has to be videoed and Instagram.
No, seriously, I don't think I've ever had a haircut video, but I need all of that. I need that haircut montage going on while I'm talking trash, while my barber taking an hour because he talking trash too. And I'm
Never
looking
mind.
back like,
You understand this. To really finish this out, you have set the game changer for every black convention out
Oh,
here now.
yeah.
They're gonna see that and be like, okay, they really, we gotta get a barber in here.
Pro
now.
chairs too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we're not gonna sit in. There ain't gonna be no fold out
See, I was
chairs.
thinking that,
man.
but
It's gonna
now,
be-
okay,
You're gonna be
yeah,
like,
I'm ready. I'm ready.
know?
I'm ready.
And look, and we're gonna make sure that they go like everything you do in your shop that makes your cut special. We want to make sure you are able to have that in your station here
Even
at the
women getting
con.
fades
And well, then there's cosplay fades too. So there's
Oh.
people who do different haircuts from Friday to Saturday because they're doing Blade one day and Aqualad the next, and that's got a legitimate thing going, right?
That's true.
And I said,
might
look, I want
forego a
y'all,
haircut that
I want
week
y'all
just
to
to go.
like you get the haircut, and the brother takes the alcohol, puts on a hand, and it burns, even though he ain't cut your back. Like it's still burn. Like why is it burn? You ain't no cuts back there. It's like like how did you burn me and not cut me? Like that's how I want it to be. And so it's gonna be cool. And y'all should shoot like a little interview video,
Me too.
or the three black geeks get 3 black fades.
Big old
We'll do
This
it.
is the 3 black fades episode. 3 black geeks.
Hey, I'm for it.
I might fall asleep in the chair, so that's
You too old for
You
that.
gonna do that with
You old,
these,
dude,
with
when
these
you're
guys in the
comfortable.
camera? You gonna let these guys with a camera see you sleeping
Not
in
with
the,
the
in the chair?
music playing, man, and the heat and the argument. You ain't falling asleep.
You gonna wake up with a clean fade and,
Exactly.
And toothpaste.
That's white people that do that, by the way. They ain't black people. You just get clown like.
So you just saying that, you know that we do.
Yeah, I was about to say what?
That's true. But you know what? Me and Nagier, we appreciate it.
Yeah, dude.
Definitely appreciate it and stuff. Appreciate you talking to us and stuff. We've talked multiple times.
yeah, hang out.
We eat chicken.
It's awesome and stuff. But yeah, 3 Black Geeks and Big Old Belt Group Show, by the
That's
way.
right,
Wrestling
that's
fandom
right.
right there.
That's right.
So we out. So